end of summer. I think a lot of you joining today probably had your young ones going back to school this week or the last week. So just soaking up the last bit of really wonderful weather outside. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Ale Zozos. I am EatLove Dietitian, and I run our monthly webinar nutrition trendy conversations that we get to have in this space as a member of YouFit. So as always, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And we have a couple things on the menu today. We are going to be talking about longevity and vitality via the blue zones. So this is the first time we've presented on a topic like this. It's a topic very near and dear to my heart. Talks a lot about Mediterranean diet themes that you can pretty much replicate anywhere in the world. I know there's a blue zone in California. There's one in Costa Rica. There's one in Japan. So we're going to talk about all those hotspot locations and really how we can bring the blue zone to really anywhere that we live in the world. So before I dive in, I just always have a couple of polls for us to do, just so I know I have a better idea of our audience today. So what type of YouFit membership do you have? First is not currently a member. This is your first touch to YouFit and you're interested about joining the club. Basic and premium, and then we have the premium plus, which has access to EatLove as part of the membership. I believe it's about $10 more a month. But I'll show you at the end of today, because I always reserve about 5 to 10 minutes to go through the resources that you have at your fingertips if you have the Premium Plus membership or are interested in upgrading into that plan, because you get to see how you can use that resource to make your blue zone right to your door. So let's go ahead and get started today. We have about 43% checking it out, majority basic members, fabulous. So if you guys like what you see, you do have resources to continue the trend. And if at any time my volume cuts out, just let me know. I have my headphones to plug in if needed, but I never like wearing them when I do these. But let's dive into unlocking longevity and vitality via the blue zones. So we will review our introduction, nutrition, exercise, social engagement, stress management. I like to call these the pillars of nutrition, or pillars of just lifestyle change, behavior change, and just basically longevity at the end of the day. Because we can talk about nutrition, we can talk about exercise all day long, but it is just part of the piece. It's half the puzzle. We do have other pillars that we need to make sure these are also fulfilled and well established in our lives to have that peace and longevity that we're all after. And then of course, we'll talk about our in-house nutrition program. So our blue zones, these are regions where people live significantly longer and healthy lives. Centenarians is a term that's thrown around occasionally with these areas of people living to 100 years old, which is not out of the realm of possibility with the resources we have available today, and especially with these regions and locations that have done this naturally through all of those pillars, through their diet, through their just movement, not even just exercise, but movement in general, lifestyle, of course, social connections and stress management. So the common blue zones that we have are Okinawa, Japan, Sardinia, Italy, Icaria, Greece, Nicoya, Costa Rica, and Loma Linda, California. So we're going to examine all of the trends today about how you can bring that right to your region, whether you're in Florida, whether you're in Texas, Pennsylvania, you name it, you'll be able to bring a blue zone directly to your household, your home, for yourself and your families. So researchers study these blue zones to uncover the secrets. What are they doing well and how can we replicate it? So if we look at the first pillar, the nutrition pillar, this is the different cultures and areas, similar nutrition. So it's a framework. Think of this as a framework. I love cuisine. I love diet cultures, and I love immersing myself in different cuisines, but that's really not what we're after right here. We're looking at the diet trends of what those foods and ingredients have in common as the underlying basis. So it's a plant-based diet, and first and foremost, and plant-based meaning there's a lot of vegetables, there's a lot of grains, there's a lot of fruit, legumes, all that good stuff, and some meat. But it doesn't mean, plant-based does not mean vegan in this term. I would never push a full vegan diet on anyone that is looking for a plant-based diet, because there's a lot of benefits of having a well-rounded piece of this. So in this case, because I know plant-based has been used to describe veganism in recent years, but that's not how I'm describing it here. Plant-based is going to be emphasis on our whole unprocessed foods, abundance of fruits and vegetables, legumes, whole grains, minimal, less consumption, just in general, less consumption of meats and processed foods. Staple foods is another really big one here. This is what I like to call these pantry items. So what can we have stored in our pantry that's going to add a pack of punch to our day-to-day? Beans, lentils, black beans, chickpeas as a primary protein source. A lot of these regions have their own go-to beans, but beans are beans at the end of the day. I always talk about one-for-one substitutions. What is the rice in your culture? What is the bean in your culture? What are the specific vegetables that this location and region is getting more of? Because at the end of the day, they are all stemming from the same food groups, and they're going to have a lot of very similar benefits to it. And these staple foods are going to be rich in fiber and nutrients. Nuts and seeds are another one. So staple foods, broths, anything that we can store in our pantry, having those staple foods to pull from to amplify our dish, elevate that plate, is going to be a really good benefit to the nutrition piece of this pillar. And then mindful eating, which I think goes unnoticed. And I think we have another webinar coming up in a couple of months here that's going to focus on mindful eating, like the entire presentation, but just as a light introduction to this, is it can help with practicing portion control. Every single one of us is going to have a different portion control. So when we're looking, or portion in general. So if we're looking at a nutrition facts label, a lot of these have been standardized via serving sizes. A lot of the one-for-one products are going to have very similar serving sizes to create a uniformity across it. That does not necessarily mean that that's what we're eating as our portion size. We may need more, we may need less. It really depends on our goals. But practicing portion control via mindful eating is a little, known skill that I like to use, is having the scale of 1 to 10 and living within these ranges before you eat your meal, during you eat your meal, and after you finish your meal, where you live in this scale. And I think living between a 3 and 7 on a hunger and satiety scale is a wonderful place to be, where you're not overly ever hungry, not overly voraciously hungry, we'll say, and never extremely full, because then that can feel very uncomfortable. It can disrupt our sleep patterns. We can feel stressed about it. Lots of things can come from living on the outliers of that scale. And I really practice living in that 3 to 7 range. So basically stopping when you're eating about 80% full, because it does take your mind a little bit of time to connect with your gut and really slow down and say, hey, you know what? I can put the stop sign up. I feel okay here. A lot of the times we may eat, if we are a 1 on that scale and we are so hungry, we've missed our lunch and we're diving into dinner, it's very possible that we're going to overeat. And by the time our gut does connect with our brain, it's going to say, wow, I'm a 10 on this scale and I'm very uncomfortable right now. So it helps prevent overeating. It supports the healthy weight management as well. And then the last beat is healthy fats. So incorporation of nuts and olive oils, again, both really good staples to support heart health and overall well-being. So that's also going to incorporate our fatty fishes. You'll notice in some of these regions, especially the Mediterranean blue zones where you have Italy and you have Greece, you have that Mediterranean basin, which that diet has stemmed from their own region, which has access to fresh fish. So you'll see that getting healthy fats in your diet is going to be another really wonderful way to support longevity, just because it's going to help could potentially reduce our risk for Alzheimer's, and making sure that we're getting healthy fats to feed our brain. Sarah, great question. I can definitely post this in our Facebook channel after our call today, the deck specifically. So let me just make a note of that. All right, perfect. So moving on to the exercise of blue zones. So exercise plays a significant role, of course, in all these areas. Like walking, biking serves as a primary mode of transportation. I know for many of us, that's not possible when you're like, I got a 20-minute ride on a highway to get to work. Might not be a means for all of us, but getting that activity in, that joyful movement where possible, and the ways that we can kind of do that, and I'll talk about that a little bit further down here. But just think about making it more practical into your day-to-day life. Other occupations are going to have that natural movement associated, things like farming, shepherding. Again, not super applicable to our lives, particularly where we live, but we can definitely bring that framework to our areas. So what we can do more aerobic exercise. We can walk more, we can swim more. In fact, I'm right now on a cardio journey myself, and I usually do a little bit more strength training, but I wanted to incorporate some more cardio into my plan. And I'm not a bike person. I don't really like spinning. I don't really like that as much, but I do really enjoy walking, and I love walking on an incline on a treadmill. I find that it goes by so much faster. You can put on a podcast, you can put on a new playlist or a new album of your favorite artist, and really get through that workout relatively easily and feel really energized after. So 10 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, 2 times a day, or 10-minute increments is a really nice positive traction forward, where you can get up to 40 minutes or so a day with walking on a treadmill on an incline is really great exercise. Flexibility exercises like yoga and stretching. For any of these, though, I do want to highlight that you want to make sure that they're fun, they're enjoyable. You don't want to be dreading them. You want to find that mode of exercise that is really therapeutic for you. Balancing exercises like Tai Chi or balance boards, strength training like weightlifting, resistance band, any classes that YouFit is offering can be really fun. I love workout classes and group classes because I can turn my brain off and you're just like, I'm following the motions. You leave, you feel like really great workout after that. But find something that you enjoy that doesn't add stress to your plate is going to be really important with the exercise piece. And the benefits, of course, are going to be improving your cardiovascular health, your muscle strength. That's going to be helpful as we age. Muscle loss is one of the main reasons, one of the accelerating reasons that we may not be able to care for ourselves as we age, and could lead to going to homes earlier than we anticipated as we age, of course. So making sure that we have strong muscles, that's including keeping our protein intake up and moving our muscles at the same time to create that movement and that interval strength. And of course, it's going to enhance our mental health and overall well-being. So some other ways besides the structured physical activity that we can get or exercise is to incorporate some of these, which I would relate back to occupations as farming and shepherding and just other modes of transportation, which is parking further away at our grocery store. Even if we're driving to the grocery store, doesn't mean we can't park a little bit further away. Do a lap around the parking lot before you walk in, scan the store, lap around a couple times before you actually do your shopping. I love mall walking is another one. It's a really big structure that you can just continue to walk the halls, take the stairs if you want. You can get a lot of really good walking in at some of the places that you may inhabit frequently. Take the stairs instead of the elevator is another one. And then standing for a few minutes each hour at work. So if you have a standing desk at home, or you're able to take your laptop in somewhere else and just take 5-minute breaks and just kind of take a lap around the building, always a great opportunity to incorporate more movement in your day-to-day. The next one is social engagement. So we covered the main two that we hear all the time, but what does social engagement mean and what does it mean for our longevity? So strong social bonds, we can prioritize close-knit relationships with family, friends, and community. This is through regular communal activities, checking in on family members on the weekends when you have some time to catch up from the week, and through shared meals. I think this is one of the underrated ways that we can create social engagement and feed our brain and our souls, basically. And by doing so is just connecting over a meal. Meals are universal. Food is universal. We know that food can bring joy. We also know that food can bring stress. We want to work on our relationships with our food at the same time. But through that shared meal is a really great way to do that. It creates that deep sense of belonging and purpose. So benefits in the blue zones for this particular pillar is going to be emotional support and stress reduction. Talking to someone is always going to be a form of stress relief, clear sense of purpose in life, and contributing to our longer, healthier lives. So some ways we can incorporate this. And coming from someone that moved across the country with just me and my fiance, we didn't know anyone. Some ways that you can sort of actionize this step is prioritize regular time. If you're going on trips to meet up with friends, or just connecting when you haven't connected in a while. So shared meals, of course, weekly check-ins, even if it's a phone call, face-to-face, even on FaceTime too as well. But just weekly check-ins, touching base with the ones that you love is really going to feed that sense, that fulfillment in this particular pillar. Engaging with your community, you can join local groups, you can volunteer. If your work has any type of programs that you can join, athletic events. We did an intramural league for kickball. It was super fun, met some really wonderful people through that. through his work. So just joining things that you can just to feed that sense of belonging, and then be present in those interactions, listen actively, show genuine interest, and just kind of open yourself up to the world of possibilities through social engagement. And then the last one. Thank you all. Is this better? Thumbs up. Amazing. Thank you, Candace. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Sarah. I don't know why that happens. I get through like 15, 20 minutes and then it just cuts out. But one source of my stress for sure. So tips for relaxation, incorporating daily. This can be anything for you. Short naps, definitely one that I explore on some days of the week, where it's just like set a timer for 15 minutes before you fall into a REM cycle. But really, if I'm like really struggling to keep my eyes open, or I'm feeling like really heavy just with everything that I'm wearing that day, burdens, responsibilities, all that good stuff, 15-minute power nap, definitely one that I would recommend. And then leisurely meals. Engage in regular social or religious gatherings if that is part of your practice. And then sense of purpose does not have to come from your occupation. So in the blue zones, their sense of purpose is not getting up, going to work, putting in the grind every single day. It's the second piece. It's, your life is first and foremost, and then you can have space for that occupation of the other piece that's going to also bring you fulfillment, but it's not the other way around. So some tips for action there is set aside some daily relaxation times. Bring that siesta to the States. I'm all for it. I love when you go to Europe and things just shut down at 3 or 4 o'clock. They turn the music off by the pool if you're at a resort. Like it is a well-known practice there. They go home for lunch. Absolutely love that. I think we can definitely get more of that in our lives. So meditation, distraction-free meals. Put that phone down. Put the TV down. If you're eating with someone, ask them how their day was. Just bringing that sense of community back again. Building downtime into your routine. I see this a lot with any clients that I work with, specifically of, just not being able to sleep well or get up on a certain routine or a certain time. Having that downtime routine is going to help you with your morning routine. I think they go hand in hand more so than we realize, that we can't really do the morning routine until we have the nighttime routine locked in. So turn your phone off. Have a, like no blue screens after whatever time. Turn your bed down, turn your blinds in, wash your face, brush your teeth, get ready for bed, read a book if you need to. But even things like gentle exercise or light meditation before bed is really going to help stimulate just your breathing, your rhythms and everything to that nature. So if you don't do anything for relaxation and you are, identifying as overly stressed, find one thing, try it. Whether it's in the morning, afternoon, or evening, be consistent with it. Monitor your symptoms of that stress. Journal about it if that's going to be helpful for you to see if that intervention is helping, and then add to it if you need to. It's the exact same when we do anything with exercise, when we do anything with meal planning, is that we have to start slow and build gradually. It's my take-home message every time I get to speak with you all. Rosa has a great question on what is the best exercise if you have total knee replacement and not as mobile. Really good question. So since I don't know much about the case and I do want to keep most of our discussions here general, I would definitely check with your physician on that, because they may have some specific criteria in for you to not do, and I don't want to say anything that would contradict that. So I would definitely check with your physician, but there are definitely ways that you can incorporate in activity that aren't going to be as painful or as weight bearing even. So, but I would definitely check with your physician to get a little bit more clarity on that. So that is pretty much it for our blue zones and our overview of it. So how can we bring this into our lives with some of the resources that you have? At the beginning, I asked a question and we had a couple of people answer that they do have a Premium Plus membership. So that is access to EatLove. You get an invite whenever you do join as a Premium Plus, or if you upgrade from your basic or premium membership. And actually, I believe it's about $39 a month to unlock that access to the app. So what EatLove is, and I'll come back to this page in just a minute when I do a little bit higher overview, is that we're personalized nutrition guidance 24/7 for every eating occasion. Think of it as your food passport. How many macros you should get on a day, what other nutrients are going to be beneficial, like how much fiber should I get, how many fruits and vegetable servings, what is my limit for sodium and saturated fat for the goals that I'm managing. And this can be anything. It can be weight management, it can be diabetes, it can be high cholesterol, it could be lifestyle focused, it could just be I want to have more energy, or I want to get more vegetables into my day-to-day. But you basically fill out a questionnaire of topics where you pick a goal, you select your skill level, your how much time you have to spend. So basically creating a curated playlist of food for you on a daily basis for any eating occasion, whether you're at home, you're on the go with restaurants, and you need a healthy meal that's going to be contributing positively toward your end goals. So with that, we are integrated with grocery, we have nutrition analysis and logging, and that good stuff as well. So I'm going to show you a little preview of the web version on a desktop so that you can see what it looks like, and then just know that you do have access to the app. And I'll show you how to set your preferences up if you want to bring that blue zone life to your day-to-day. All right, so flipping over here to our meal feed. So in this particular nutrition plan, I have diabetes 2 filled out as the goal, as the main goal for this particular test profile. You can see here that based on that goal, I have the following criteria. And again, calories are going to range for every single person. So this is just for this test person. And then of course my macros. So I can see my macro breakdown here. I can see that I have a maximum on things like added sugar and a maximum on sodium, and I'm getting, as well as saturated fat, and minimums on desirable things, minimums on fiber, fruits, whole grains, vegetables, iron even, that I have to meet on a daily basis. That's a lot of nutrition interventions going into a plan, but we remove the stress involved with having to hit those numbers by showing you options 24/7. So think of this as Spotify for food. You know, it's a playlist. It's meals that are ever flowing and ongoing 24/7. So since we have the week in advance, I'm going to expand here. I can see that if I don't want maybe this option for Friday breakfast, I can hit swap and I can choose from a smart choice that matches my nutrition requirements. So I have dozens of options. I will have dozens of options that would be a suitable choice for that particular meal. And I can change anything. That's the best part about it, is choosing for a smart choice, picking something that works really well for my taste profile in the moment. So I can choose it, change it. It's scaled for the family. So you can see here that I have 3 people eating where breakfast is just 1. You can add it to your grocery list. Another really unique option is swapping for a restaurant meal. How do you eat at Starbucks? How do you eat at Chipotle, Subway, Jimmy John's, you name it? We're going to give you an alternative to something that you can eat at one of these restaurants, these fast food locations, fast casual dinings, even sit down chain restaurants. We're going to have some meals for you. And that's all based on your nutrition profile and how it's set up. So you never have to stress about getting something that's not suitable for your goals. It always will be. It has to. That's the way that the program is working. So if we want to follow that blue zones in your area, if I click over to meal preferences and I choose food avoidances, I can choose a plant-based diet or a pescatarian diet. I may want to throw that on there because I'm avoiding some meats, and I can always search for meat-based dishes if I want to. But if I want to do more fish next week, I can change my profile to be just that. And then taste preference wise, I did mention about the cuisines where it's not necessarily the cuisine type, but of course with some of these cuisines, you will get a lot of those food groups, the healthy fats, the beans. I think beans are known as one of those the biggest staples on the blue zones. So I have Greek and Italian already filled in. A couple others in there that may show me a few more Mediterranean, that may show me a bit more meals related to those specific requirements. So if I click refresh my meals, I will have a new playlist based on all of that criteria. All right. So the last thing I wanted to show you today is the daily log. So we do have a comprehensive food tracker in here as well, and it does have a bar at the top to show you how you're doing. You could even go a step further and export your nutrition analysis. It's going to give you a very detailed report with a benchmark. How are you doing for your age and gender with that particular nutrient? We're going to give you everything on a nutrition facts label, so it brings a lot of insights to your intake to kind of say, is this a good quality product for what I'm after in terms of my goals? If you do have it in your planner, you can just say that you ate it. If not, that's totally fine. You can add whatever you did eat. We're a food tracker. We have a barcode scanner. We have 750,000 products in here. We are a validated source. We're not crowdsourced, meaning our data has to be accurate. You have access to the same technology that top healthcare systems in the world use with their patients. So definitely take advantage of the daily log piece of it. And then you can always scan labels as well. We do have an AI label reader. If it's not in our database, we make it really easy to log, even if it's just for 24 hours or a couple of days. You can use the insight from the nutrition reports to really give you the information that you're after. All right. And then lastly, we're always about value add. So if we're looking at what you get immediately when you do upgrade to a Premium Plus membership, is the ability to have nearly 8,000 dietitian approved meals. So whether or not they're perfect for your profile, not everything will be, and that's okay. There's still going to be extremely well-rounded dishes that you can search by keyword. If I wanted, I want something with fatty fish and I want salmon, I can type in salmon for that particular meal, and I say, curry salmon sounds amazing. I'm going to add that to my dinner upcoming today, and it will let you do that. So lots of really great ways that you can incorporate and search for foods and food groups that give you exactly what you're looking for. Pamela, great question. So we do not have a way to work one-on-one specifically, but we do have a very extensive network of dietitians that use our portal and platform that we could always refer out to if you have more medical nutrition therapy concerns and any questions that way. I'm happy to put our support email in here, support@eatlove.is, for any more information on that. Amazing. So any other final questions for today? I appreciate you all for being such a great group, and we're actually coming in under time today. So get back to your lunch or your work day or your day off if you are enjoying the last bits of summer a little bit sooner. Amazing. Well, I hope you all have a really great rest of your week, and I will talk to you soon. I'll be back next month with another nutrition topic, and we'll go through it then. Have a good one.